What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Super Otaku Show. You're here with a very, well, partially sleepy otaku crew, namely me. But anyway, as always, I am joined by the Shooting Star Sheriff himself. How you doing, Sharif?
Yo, I'm Mr. Good Vibes number 1. All right. Taylor's Good Vibes number 2. We're both wearing Good Vibes t-shirts. It was not planned. I'm doing great though. I'm doing great. I'm probably the one day guy out of the cast, so I'm okay. I'm great.
Oh man, and of course, Taylor made otaku. How you doing, Taylor?
I'm tired, but I'm good.
Yeah.
And I got the vibes to go with the good vibes. Good vibes, boy number 2. How y'all doing?
And my Roman half. How you doing, Aaron?
I'm doing great, and just because you can't see it, I'm definitely wearing a Good Vibes shirt.
I feel left out.
So we got good vibes on the stream today. You just have to take my word for it. I would never lie to any of you.
He wouldn't.
It's true.
Nope.
I'm incapable of lying as an artificial intelligence. It's one of the rules, the Isaac Asimov rules of artificial intelligence. I can't lie, right? That's one of them.
Oh man! And of course, I am Bear of Roman Bear, and yeah, it's been a minute. What's everybody been watching? It's been like 2 weeks since we last got together. I'm gonna toss it to you guys for a minute, so I can awkwardly sit here and sip my coffee and eat this donut.
Okay.
This guy needs to collect himself.
He's got to collect his thoughts. Okay.
I don't know where I am right now.
I finished Immortal Life of the Immortal Life of the Demon King on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Chinese anime, or it's actually pretty good. It was actually pretty good. I got big Psyche K vibes from it, which it very much is kind of like a Psyche K type of like shtick. It's a lot of fun if you're looking for like a nice little comedy, like slice of life type of thing. Cause I think am I the only one who likes slice of life here? I know Taylor does.
No, we all like slice of life here.
No, wait.
I vibe with slice of life.
Okay. I was just making sure.
I've just seen much less of it, so I can't speak on it generally, but I just mostly enjoy the ones I've seen.
Got you. Also, the boys loot crate this month. I think I've spoken about this before on the podcast, but the anime crates or whatever is doing a limited edition 4 run of Gundam sets, and this month is Iron-Blooded. This month is Iron-Blooded Orphans, so I had to buy it because Iron-Blooded Orphans is my ish. Not that, and the mecha designs are top tier. Those are top tier mecha designs. So
is anime? Is this like a monthly subscription box service where they send you?
Yeah, but
anime
this is like but this is like a limited edition, like 4 run of just like 4 Gundam series. They're just calling it the Gundam loot crates. So there's a different theme every month. So this month is gonna be Iron-Blooded Orphans. The one before it was Double O Gundam, which is like my favorite series, and then the other one before it was Gundam Wing. Don't look at me like that.
Disdain that Taylor shows for Gundam.
He just doesn't like Setsuna. He just doesn't like Setsuna. He made the right choice.
Fuck off. No, he did.
Oh man.
I actually did start a new anime. Not one of the ones on our list, funnily enough. I started Dr. Stone because I saw it on my list.
Fantastic Aaron move.
Let's go.
Dr. Stone. I was like, because I had it on my list for a while, and I was looking for something to watch during work, even though Crunchyroll doesn't have an English dub yet. But I landed on Dr. Stone. I am enjoying it. It's fun. It's very much just kind of like, it just reminds me of, you know how like you toss out like these weird scenario questions with your friends, like, oh, if you went back in time, like, you know, would you be able to do anything with that, with your information of the future? The answer for most people is just straight up no. So this is just like one of those weird power fantasies where it's like, what if a guy knew everything scientific? Like, no, he doesn't know just how to engineer things. He's also just good at like biological science. I do like it though. I think it is fairly grounded in terms of like what his limitations are. Like he is very weak and not good at engineering. He gets like an old man to do his glass molding because he sucks at it. So it's fun. It's a good time. I don't the villain or the kind of villain of the show is just really funny to me, just how ridiculously overpowered he is. They just wake this dude up and he just beats a lion to death with his bare hands with one punch.
Equally overpowered to Senju.
Well,
Because he's as smart as he is
lion
strong.
face.
But he's also smart. Like the strong guy's also smart, like smart enough to understand basic science to where he like is one step ahead of Senju at like the first 5 episodes. Like what? How do you know how to make gunpowder, strange monkey man who can beat lions to death with his bare hands?
If you can beat a lion to death, you don't need gunpowder.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Game over if they discover gunpowder. I'm like, are you sure, dude?
Dr. Stone is definitely an example of one of the rare exceptions where I undoubtedly prefer the anime to the manga. Where
Yeah,
I was like,
I haven't read the manga.
I read the manga and I was like, I don't love this, but I like the concept, and I think the reason for it is because I was like, I feel like I needed to like watch Senju constantly have eureka moments, and like I wanted to see everything in motion. And the other thing is of course, anybody who's read it, there is a shift in the protagonist very rapidly between who the protagonist is probably meant to be and who it becomes. Very rapidly. Well, because it like you initially think it's his best friend. The first like 5 chapters completely focus on him. The first episode is the only thing that really focuses on him, but he's used in the anime perfectly as the framing device for the audience to be.
He's Watson.
Yeah.
He's a Watson. He's there to introduce the real main character's intellect and characteristics. He's a surrogate for the audience to.
Thank you,
view this all
Tim.
through. What did Tim say?
Nothing good.
Dr. Stone's interesting. I do kind of, as I am, some of the stuff is a little like, just kind of weirdly power is just like, oh, all the hot girls like immediately fall in love with the science man. It's like, yeah, I guess they would, but you put him there purposefully to be that smart and interesting.
Oh man.
The primitive hot girl who don't know no good. And
I will say this though. I will say this as I'm shuffling cards about. Dr. Stone is probably one of like the better like isekais in my honest opinion.
it's not really an isekai, right? Like it's on the edge of being one. It's like the world is different.
It like flirts with it.
It's like isekai adjacent.
It's because he doesn't have to learn any new rules about the world. He's simply using the rules.
He didn't even leave his own world. The world around him just changed.
Yeah. I do like. Okay. I was wondering about like there's interesting things they explore that I didn't think they would take the time to, like the fact that the Earth has slightly shifted on its axis, and that throws things off, like his attempts to map out where he is. It's like, oh shit, the North Star isn't even where like it was before. the whole world has shifted slightly. But yeah, I also really love the fact that there are moments in the anime that have to break the fourth wall to tell you specifically not to do certain things. They're like, they make gunpowder and they're like, this is the real recipe for gunpowder. Please do not make this.
Nope.
Do not
You
become
will
sick.
blow your limbs off. Yeah, so that's kind of fun because like you would think that a show like that might maybe leave some stuff out. Like Breaking Bad had this problem where Breaking Bad, like they're making meth, but they purposely leave small parts out to make sure that the audience can't go and try and recreate this character's meth. But this show is like, no, we're just gonna show them and then tell them, please don't do this. Which would be really funny if Breaking Bad did that.
Oh,
Like, hey
jeez.
kids, this is the real recipe for the highest quality meth. But you tweakers
away.
out there, maybe don't do this. It's very dangerous.
Oh, jeez. You watched anything else this week, Aaron?
No, I've just been kind of binging a little bit of Dr. Stone. And then I was going to watch, is it Japan Sinks or Tokyo Sinks? Japan Sinks, which my fiance Nina has described to me as a misery fest, which I'm not sure. I need to be in a right frame of mind maybe to watch that one.
No, oh my god.
Just don't watch
so
it.
Bad. It's so
I
bad.
heard it's interesting, like it's a interesting show, but it's like a natural disaster type show, right? Where it's like just one calamity after the other.
So
Sort of.
bad. It's like it's like the movie 2020, but like, or no, it's like the movie 2012, the movie 2020. What if we get a 2020 movie?
was funny.
With the same characters too.
What if we get a 2020 movie, guys? It triggered the entire world. Anyway, I digress. No, it's like 2012, but just infinitely way more boring.
So 2020 though, we think it's going to be a disaster movie, and in fact, though, the person who writes it is just going to write it into a weird, quirky rom-com about two people falling in love over a Discord call. Wow, because like it's going to be something dumb, like they keep ending up, like somehow they keep like they tried some kind of like thing, like some kind of like random match video app so you can find a friend to talk to, and that they're going to be each other's randomly a side buddy for the end of the world that is 2020, and then it's just about them falling in love, and the end credits is them trying to meet up after it goes away in 2022.
I mean, it still wouldn't be as stupid as 2012. 2012 was the dumbest. It was like tried to be a natural disaster movie, but it was just like the natural disaster didn't make any sense. It just was things falling apart and exploding for no reason because the Mayans predicted it. And again, a fundamental misunderstanding of that whole thing.
The calendar and the light up of time, yeah.
History Channel fucked up so many people's brains. Like, I blame History Channel entirely for people not understanding anything about Mayan or Aztec civilization and thinking aliens just did all of it.
Aliens.
They're the worst.
When in doubt, if you don't understand something about ancient history, aliens.
Dude, they did understand it. That's the worst part. They were just racist. They were
Not
like,
well
these
enough,
people wouldn't be able
aliens.
to do it.
I like 2012.
Okay. All right.
I
Literally-
don't know why.
literally just
I like 2012. It's a terrible movie. I agree.
Oh, it's fun.
I liked it.
It's a VFX
I mean-
extravaganza.
I mean, can we all agree that 2012 was not as bad as The Happening?
I haven't seen The Happening. I think
The
I know what movie
Happening.
you're talking about.
It's the
I could
worst
get behind that though.
movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
Is it
I
as
have
good
never-
as Old?
I don't even know what Old is.
Have
I'll
we
tell you
not
this,
seen Old?
It's the second movie that I wanted my money back after I saw it.
That's a bad sign.
I don't think I've ever asked for my money back after seeing a movie, even though
If
that's a very
you-
plausible thing to do. Like, if you don't like something.
If you saw, like, what did I just say? What was it? The Happening?
Yeah.
And the other movie that made me want to do that is The Village.
Oh, The
Those
Village was
two
fun.
movies. I hate that movie. I hate that
Village is
movie
okay.
because I'm in here. I'm in my own like little realm of like thinking like, oh, this is actually something. They send this blind ass girl out in the middle of the woods by her damn self to find some. I forgot what it was.
All right.
Find some cure or some.
We're gonna
whatever for her husband.
Make The Village in an anime. It's
How about
gonna be
no?
epic. It's
They
gonna be
did
great.
say
Honestly,
that.
I was gonna say The Village does kind of work as an anime.
It would
frankly.
look horrifying. Like, imagine some like Junji
I'll-
Ito style like art.
You know
I
how
was gonna
pissed
say,
off
if
I
it was-
when she found a highway.
To be honest, though, like Junji Ito stories are hard. Like, think about trying to translate most Junji Ito stories because they're so dumb on the face of it. Like, they discover man-shaped holes that people just start crawling into. Like, the thought of that's just really silly. but like it's horrifying for different reasons. Like there's a lot going on there that makes it scary. But like the concept just sounds stupid. Like a dude starts turning into a snail. Like, okay, I guess that's
Straight
kind
up
of creepy.
Kafka nonsense.
That's kind of awful. If you just turn into a snail.
I'll turn into a snail.
Taylor.
What anime have you been watching, cuz?
Yeah, bring us out of this weirdness we've fallen into.
Before I do that, have I told you all that I read Chainsaw Man?
Oh
Yeah, you mentioned it last time.
Did I go over that? Okay.
Yeah, you said you didn't like it as much as it was being hyped.
I still love
Oh
Power.
yeah. It was okay.
I'm still very
Love her
excited.
so much.
I'm excited to see the anime.
Yeah. I think the anime is going to be a lot better than the manga is. I don't know what it was about. I could explain what it was about the manga I didn't like, but we got that kind of time. For the first time last night, I watched this. I watched the first episode of the show. I think it came out last year. I want to say it came out last year. And the funny thing is, like, I make like videos called like Hype Train when I talk about like the 5 anime each season I'm hyped to see. And this one was on the Hype Train. I never fucking watched it. So there is that. But I watched the first episode too. I think it's like the Sleepy Princess is in the castle or something. Like Sleepy Princess in the Demon Castle or something like that.
You know what? I think I remember you talking about that in one of your videos. I remember that. Yep.
Yeah. And pretty much what it's about, it's about like this land of peace and everybody's happy and all good vibes. And this was not planned, by the way. This is just a coincidence.
Good vibes.
And all of a sudden, the demon lord shows up and he's like, "Ha ha ha! Give me control of your domain." And he kidnaps the princess. Oh, hold on, wait a minute. I didn't say that right. He kidnaps the princess, and he's like, "If you want her back, give me control." And then he takes her back to the castle, and she's in this castle and she's just chilling. She gets like 3 meals a day, 5-course, actually good meals. And she's like, "I'm so bored. There's nothing to do here except sleep." So she's like, "It's cool. I like to sleep." But she's not getting like a good night's sleep. So basically, the show can be summed up as, and she's a menace to all these demons.
Oh my god.
She's a menace to all these demons. Like she knows like, okay, like her pillow is not like as soft as she would like it to be. It's not a good pillow. So there's these 2 like little cute ass like little teddy bear demon things that bring her food. And she looks at them and she goes, "I bet they're soft." So she pulls out a knife.
This anime's taking a turn. I like we started from Demon
I'm
King,
like,
but we got
no,
darker.
No. And she's like, "There's probably a better way to do this." So then she takes a brush and she starts brushing the bears and taking like their fur. And the bears are loving this, by the way.
For now.
And she's like, "Oh, you like to get brushed?" And they're like, "Yeah." She's like, "Give me the keys to the cell that you have, and I'll do this for you every single day." And they're like, "Bet." So they give her the keys to her cell. So she just breaks out of her cell, and she just starts walking around the castle. It's
a very weird fairy tale.
So weird. Like she
This
goes,
is weird.
like she leaves. She leaves to find like a good like pillow like thing to put like all stuffing and stuff in. She finds it and she goes back to like a room to lay down on the pillow. And
He just wants to find a place to sleep.
no. But all of this, while she's out of the cage, the demons are freaking out because the princess isn't in her cage. And then it gets back to like the demon lord, and he's like, "Is it true that she's just walking around the fucking castle?" And they're
Why is this like the weirdest mix of like Sleeping
because
Beauty,
it's a comedy.
Beauty and the Beast, It's got
It's
so
so
many
funny.
different fairy tale vibes going on.
It's so funny because they're like, yeah, she got out, she was walking around, but she's back in there now. And like the Demon King's like, let me go talk to this chick. She might just be running around my castle like this. So he runs up and he's like, he opens the cell door and he's about to start yelling at her, but then she's lying there and she's asleep. And she's so cute while she's sleeping. He's just staring at her, just like he's trying to stay mad, but he can't.
It's like,
And one of his underlings are just like, "You want to try this again tomorrow?" And he's like, "Yeah, don't wake her up." And he just walks away. But that's like one of the like 3 things she does to these demons in the span of one episode. Basically, she's just a menace to everybody in that castle.
That's great.
That's great.
Beautiful. I also started reading Spy X Family.
Is good.
My boy.
It's
I need to read more of it.
the word adorable it doesn't do it justice.
Well, okay, I'm gonna try because I've never heard of this. I'm gonna try just going off the title to see if I can nail down the story.
Mhm.
Is it about an adorable family of spies? Like this spy hood runs in their family. Like they're all like training each other to be spies. No. Oh, damn
No.
it. I thought I could get this. Spy X
You were-
Family
you-
just sounds exactly right.
You started off on the right note by saying it's a cute family. That's
Oh,
as far
well,
as
I
you
mean, that seems as... all
Yeah,
right, well...
it's a cute one. I think I found out about it from Eye Patch Wolf. I think it was in one of his more recent videos, talking about it. But yeah, the premise is really good. I don't know if it ever get an anime adaptation, but just
got. I think it is.
Is it? Because that would be adorable. I think it
think
has
it
the
is.
right amount of like really nice
Yeah.
artwork and everything.
Yeah, it got confirmed. I think the anime is supposed to be debuting next year.
Dope. Yeah,
I think so.
yeah.
I thought that's what I heard.
I guess the elevator pitch is that it's about a spy who needs a family and inadvertently recruits a little psychic girl and an assassin to be his cover, and they slowly realize being a family is nice.
See, I feel like I could have gotten that. I was close.
You would have got the psychic part.
Not the psychic part. That's kind of out of left field sounding.
Adorable.
Yep. It's like super cute and wholesome. Like the whole like first arc is about getting her into a really nice preschool.
Yep, and it's adorable.
Sounds right.
It's adorable.
Precious.
So what have I been watching this week? I watched a bunch of things. None of the things I was supposed to. But I've been watching. I finally found and decided to watch most of Konosuba, and I get the memes now because the Konosuba memes were invading Twitter the other day. I guess because season 3 got announced.
Let's go.
I now understand like why it's so funny.
Let's go.
I now understand. I played the explosion sound for chat. You guys don't get to hear it again. Darkness is my favorite by a mile.
Let's go.
The like absolute dedication to her kink is so impressive. She will die for it.
She knows what she wants. She's here for it.
I have so much respect for that. You do you. I get the guy. It's a very fun, very funny show. I understand the lulz. So I've been watching that. I have made it to season 2 of How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, so I can watch this double summon edition, so I can see why it couldn't be aired on TV, because I'm a terribly curious pervert. And
So I gotta watch the second season.
it you know what's funny is that it's not really. I think the animation studio might have changed, and they changed the way they hide things. And it's basically like in the live, like the TV airing version, they did a lot of stuff like hiding, like any like revealing shots through like extra bright light and things like that, and it just got rid of that. So it's pretty. Aaron, do you have like a connection issue or something right now? I hear like a constant white noise. And it's just,
same. I don't know who it's coming from though.
and it's only Sharif and you that have like the bars constantly lit. I think it's from Sharif's side. Then I don't know what's going on.
It might be me. It might be me.
Did like your air kick on or something? I don't know.
Yeah, my AC just kicked on.
That's what it is. That's what we're hearing because it's a constant white noise. There it is.
Yep.
If it's constant, it can be fixed.
Yep.
Now, hold on.
If Bear ever learns how to get rid of noise in post.
Yeah, like in post is one thing, but like not
alive.
not live, impossibly. Anyway,
Impossible.
well, it is possible if I had a full audio setup, but I don't.
Yeah, what the heck? Why don't you have a full audio setup?
I know, right?
Come on,
I'm
Bear.
not cool enough.
Are you producing this show or
No.
aren't you?
I just hit buttons and hope it works. So,
Take a leap of faith.
exactly. Good call. So I've been watching that, and I've been getting a good kick out of that. And finally, I've been watching Metabots.
Hey.
What the hell is Metabots?
Autobots.
Okay,
Yo,
so
cuz, does this remind you of our episode that we did?
Yeah.
so again, like as another quick shout out because I love this company. They've been around for a minute, but like they've been doing some really dope stuff the last like year or two. Is Discotech Media makes these now? They're standard edition, like standard definition Blu-rays, because a lot of these old school cartoons that like we grew up on don't have HD. Like they don't exist in HD because they weren't made in HD. Like the like 720 is the best you can get, and none of them are in full frame.
Struggle was real.
So they've been doing these cool Blu-ray sets where they have like entire seasons on a single disc for like $30-$40. And Metabots is, if anybody doesn't know, because you're either too small or Aaron grew up in another country.
I was living in Metabots.
Well, over there it's called Meta-Rot, which is a much less good name.
Damn, dog.
Yeah.
Metabot. It's one of the few times where the translation to America is the better version. But anyway, Metabots it's a pocket, like it's another collectible like battle toy anime about these small robot, like little robots, they're like 2 foot tall that you fight with, called Metabots. They're powered by metal, so their name is literally Metal Robot. And like it's great. It teaches you that gambling is fun. That like if you're gonna,
as many do.
Exactly. If you do something, you need to put something on the line. So in this, it's your hard-earned toys. If you play against somebody else, you have to bet. You either play for parts, or you pay for medals, or you play for pinks, which is you just give the guy your robot when you lose, just like your car.
Oh, that's sad.
Well, you know what? Just remember, you never had me. You never had your robot. So I'm gonna turn everything in Metabots into a Fast and the Furious reference somehow, and it's gonna be great. But so the thing with the Metabots that I do want to say is that it is an unexpectedly good anime. It has some like really solid animation and everything in it. It like way faster than a lot of the stuff that we like. If you go like watch some Pokemon or even Digimon, Monster Ranch, or any of those ones that are other like monster collector toy type ones, they're all good. But like the animation is just better in Metabots, and Metabots is also funny. It has like a lot of like silly like punny humor and everything, but it's genuinely good. And by the time you start getting to the end of the season, it's great.
Like the referee.
Oh, Mr. Referee,
The referee is so
my dream.
lit, dog.
If I did anything in this world, I would want to be Mr. Referee.
Oh, he just show up out of nowhere.
Yep.
So it is agreed. Now this will be a new row battle.
So for all of our errands out there, in this world, there is like a like national like Metabots like association that is all that has like a tournament, an international tournament, and everything. And for all of Japan, there is one referee, and his name is Mr. Referee, and he shows up to referee every single meta fight. Even
when
the
you're
ones
born
against
for
the
the
bad
job.
guys, like when they fight like villains in the show, like legitly, like these guys are like doing something terrible, like they've just stolen everybody's like medals and like broken into a warehouse and flown away with it in a helicopter with a prototype. Like he shows up and it was like, I am Mr. Referee, I need to get in. He's literally in the episode trying to like get inside, and he announces
He was
the row
born
battle
for
from
this.
the floor. Yeah, it's great.
He was made to be the referee.
And
He
he's
has no choice.
he's just
He is
this like
phenomenal.
gray-haired older man with a mustache.
The first episode, he just shows up at the top of a flagpole.
No explanation.
This dude's cool. I love him.
It's amazing.
He's now my favorite character out of any anime. He's that cool.
I'm
You're
gonna have
not
to
wrong.
put him up there. Why you joking? I'm gonna have to put him up there. I love that dude.
S tier character.
We're gonna do our tier character rating review.
We need to do a tier list for one of these podcast episodes.
I'm 1,000% down for that.
We'll be here for like
for
8 hours. That's gonna be like an 8-hour
We,
stream.
it would need to be like a very specific thing.
It has to be very
not.
specific. It has to be very
We
specific.
would need to do a specific thing, and we would need to gather the assets beforehand and make
Yes.
probably one of you three do it, not me,
I-
'cause I can't be
We
trusted.
could do tournament arcs in Shonen.
That's a good one.
But there's so
That
many.
would be a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good
So
one.
many tournament arcs.
All right.
Are
Well,
How many good ones are there?
I mean, that's the thing. You gotta put all the ones we remember, because we gotta also have our
Put some
F
in F
tier
tier.
and our why the fuck tier.
Yeah, there's one below F tier, and it's just the sad tier, just the worst tier. Also, by the way, I was very tempted to do this, but I wanted to ask you guys first. Are y'all familiar with a YouTube channel called Beyond the Bot?
Yes. My favorite YouTuber is on there.
so.
Kurt Ritchie's on it.
Beyond the Bot is a great anime YouTube channel, and I was thinking about maybe reaching out to see if some of their hosts, because I guess there's a ton of hosts, to see if a few of their hosts wanted to join us sometime, because they're really fun. I really like their stuff. I got into their channel. I saw a video called Foodie Cootie and Masculinity, which is done by this really cool dude, and then I watched the tier list they made of all the costume designs in My Hero, which was absolutely hysterical.
That sounds funny.
Dude, they put Deku in like D tier. They're like, it's like he looks like Gumby. Put him at the bottom.
I
Now
mean,
that you
Deku's
said
my
it-
nephew, but hey,
Yeah, true though. As long as
Now
they
that
put
you made-
Yuraka in S tier, so I was like, okay, all right, they get it. She
now that
understands the
someone has
assignment.
made that, I'll never unsee it.
Oh man.
Deku and Gumby, I'll never unsee it now. I'll never unsee it. It's now
To be
burned
fair-
into my brain.
Gumby was lit though.
I always hated Deku's like costume design, but it got slightly better because I like his gloves and I love the boots. And like the green's not bad, but there's so much going on in his costume that I'm like, we need to
Is it
simplify
because he
this.
wears a one-piece jumpsuit? Is that what it is?
No, like
He wears
to be
a
honest,
one-piece jumpsuit based on a hoodie he wore as a little kid that makes him
I was-
look like a really cheap, like chintzy Halloween store.
Yeah, no,
All Might.
To be fair, his mom made his first costume. We can't get mad at, like his mom is a gem, and we should never make fun of his costume.
She is very
Yes,
beautiful.
she did her best.
And raising
She's trying.
Deku made her fat.
She's just a single parent. Like she just
It did.
she turned
That's
into
how
a little woman.
That's how stressful raising Deku is. Just remember that.
I think that's just what single parents, do, it's hard. It's hard being a single parent.
Oh, it is. And Deku's that much worse.
He's not even fat. Anko got fat.
Can we
So-
not bring that up?
I don't like it either.
Can we
But-
excuse all of that? Where's
Also,
my
Mamma
anime
Mia Ria
news?
still fine though.
Also, I want to have specifically one of the female guests on because they made a tier list of top anime daddies, and they put Maze Hugh in S tier, and I have words
Yeah.
for this person.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't knock King Bradley for being a Hitler stand-in, but not dock Maze Hughes points for being a Nazi stand-in. Like, you can't do that. They're both the part of the same group.
Nah, he's a good Nazi.
He helped commit
Are you
genocide.
saying that Maze Hughes does not deserve to be?
Have you not seen my Full Metal Alchemist video? I literally start with fuck Maze Hughes.
Aaron's a monster. And while Taylor's gone.
He's gone. And with that being said, let's jump into some anime news.
Let's get some anime news.
First things first. So normally I have a very nicely curated list of anime news from all the places we like to gather anime news across the internet. But this week I didn't do no work because I overslept and I'm bad. So we're doing it live, and I'm just scrolling randomly roulette style through one of the many anime sites I have. First things first. Number one in some of the like New York Times bestseller stuff right now for August is Chainsaw Man, My Hero, and Attack on Titan, just tearing up the charts. That's fun.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up the fact that, like, I know I said before that Attack on Titan was getting more popular, but it is wild how far it's reached.
Yes.
Just to, like, people who would never watch anime in any circumstance are, like, making TikToks about how they're now watching Attack on Titan because it's so compelling to them. And I'm like, well, maybe you should watch some other animes too, because, like, there's better ones. But also, yeah, I find Attack on Titan's popularity very interesting. In fact, I kind of want to do a video specifically, not about the, like, weird stuff in Attack on Titan, though I want to talk about that. I want to talk about why Attack on Titan has gotten as far as it has, because it's kind of a weird
themes are a
one.
bop, and that's all you need.
The theme songs? Yeah,
I
no,
don't
that's
like
true.
Attack on Titan, and I will often be like, da 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 da.
Yeah, no, the entire soundtrack for Attack on Titan is S tier. Like, it's beyond good. All of it. Like, my favorite TikToks are the ones where it's like some dude that's like, I don't want to work out today, and then all of a sudden it's the captain on the screen, like, screaming, like, let's go, and the music starts playing. He just, like, rises out of his bed.
Oh man.
Starts pumping iron.
Yeah. The Attack on Titan, like, memes and, like, the TikToks and stuff have
They're
been
funny.
abundant.
They're so good,
Funny.
though. Like, they're genuinely funny.
Yeah.
So another thing, it's not oddly anywhere on this news. Maybe it was announced earlier than I realized, but Bleach is returning again. It's the
Yeah,
re-return. With adult Ichigo.
No.
I was gonna say, didn't I remember that they said something about there's gonna be like a new chapter for Bleach coming out soon? Is that right?
Yep. So I'm gonna Google
Okay.
this real quick to see if I can find an
I was gonna,
actual...
cause you might want to leave. We talking about Bleach.
He's got to get
I
up
got
and leave.
Taylor. Wait, Taylor. Wait, no, I got good news for you after. I found a news story just for him. I found one just for him.
What about Bleach?
Wait. To let you know, I brought you something that's good news too. So, for after the Bleach news, we have to get through the Bleach first. Okay. So the Bleach news is just that it's Bleach's 20th anniversary, and despite the fact that Tite Kubo made Burn the Witch and apparently everybody loves it, he's gonna just make more Bleach instead. There's a new arc coming out for what it is. It's a new chapter. It's apparently a 73-page chapter for Bleach, which is about three like normal manga chapters.
Okay, can I throw this out there real quick? I would actually love this if instead of Ichigo facing like a new, even more powerful enemy, he's like, because he's reached the pinnacle of like strength in this world, he has to like go back to living like a normal life and has to get like a job and he's just working at like a fast food joint, even though he's the most powerful Soul Reaper.
In all seriousness, I would be okay if this was kind of like a normal days type arc, right? Like it's a nice big look at like where is everybody 10 years on. Because like why Bleach is a flawed show and I have a lot of issues with it, I still really like Bleach because it's one of it's one of the big three. I think it's a thing that a lot of us grew up on. Like I grew up being super in love with like DBZ and Naruto and Bleach and One Piece, and like funny enough, like nobody would know this now, but growing up, like One Piece was my bottom tier out of those three shows. And I loved Bleach and Naruto so much more because like cool swords and ninjas.
The only reason I find this whole conversation funny is because I can literally just hear Taylor's channel, like his comment section, just intensifying right now.
People are somehow like typing comments on a video that doesn't exist yet.
Because Cuz has made it abundantly clear that nobody's watching Bleach, so I can just hear his comment section right now.
No, like honestly, like I've tried to rewatch Bleach, and if I really got into it, I would probably be able to make it through the Soul Society arc, and that's it.
Yeah,
that was same.
That was peak Bleach. That was really peak with Soul Society.
Mm-hmm. And even that, there are just times where it's like, oh my god, are we still grinding here? Like, bro.
Yeah.
I can see Taylor suffering though, so I think I'm gonna give him some good news.
Give him some good news.
So Uzaki-chan Wants to Hang Out is officially getting a new season next year.
Yay!
So it's not far away. It's not going to be like 6 years that we gotta wait, Taylor.
There's the good vibes.
Let's go.
The good vibes are back.
I like Uzaki-chan.
I really liked that show. It was super endearing.
It was a nice show.
The My Hero Academia movie came out in Japan, and evidently it's doing really well.
Another one.
It's the secret ops mission with Bakugo, Deku, and Todoroki.
Yep. So I guess
you start off with Bakugo, so I'm immediately not interested.
I forgot you.
So
I'm just happy that in the anime they literally have finally done something. Mm-hmm. Like it's been like 6 episodes of just not doing anything. They're just like running around the city, unable to catch up with fucking Endeavor.
Yep. So another piece of news that you guys brought to my attention is, of course, the Olympics were last week, and there was a ton of unexpected nerd culture support, not just at the Olympics, with all of the dope anime and like Japanese video game intros, things like Demon Slayer and Digimon getting played and a whole bunch of other stuff. But like the amount of people doing different like anime poses and just like nerd things in general. My two favorite, I don't remember what the one guy is from, what sport he was playing, I couldn't find it, but he did the Frankie super pose, which is so much cooler than doing any main character pose. You do some Frankie super shit. That's my jam.
Yeah, I love that. There was the guy who did Gear second. There was one guy, I think he was like doing like a sprint, and like midway through the sprint, he did Gear third. I was like, what is this guy doing?
He knew how to power up.
Dude, the memes that are coming from just the Olympics alone is just amazing. I think there was a guy doing like shadow clone. He was doing shadow clones. Like, it's great. Like the amount of weeb.
I want somebody, I want in some sort of one of the fighting sports like wrestling or judo or something. I want one of them to do that, the comic book where the guy goes Kame, Hame, and the other guy just gives up. And then in the press conference, he's like, I was almost sure he couldn't do it, but I didn't want to take any chances.
So I think one major opportunity was missed at the Olympics, and that's that I think all of the sprints should have been done in Naruto run.
You make the fastest people on Earth have to run like ninjas.
Oh my god, that would
We
have
could
been
have
great.
found out if they were actually more aerodynamic. It would have been the perfect moment to scientifically prove that running like a ninja makes you fast.
Have you ever seen the video where like this it's like this weeb channel and they go to like the only real world ninja left in Japan and like bombard him with like Naruto questions and he's like, no, that's stupid. It's like that's not how ninjas run.
That's amazing.
It's great. He's so cool. He's like, I have to be able to dislocate my shoulder on command, you know, just in case like I'm in like a bind or something. And also the way they run is they like basically just pull their knees up very high. And he's like, the reason you do that is because you're operating at night and you can't see anything. And if you're like shuffling on the ground, you might trip over something. So you have to be able to feel something before you like trip over it. You got to bring your legs up, make sure you're not tripping over shit.
That's neat. So I have a final piece of news, and then we're going to move into our actual top of the show. And it's a topical one. It fits because it is a mecha-based thing. The Megaton Musashi new franchise from Level 5 officially has a start time for its anime and a launch date for the video game, though not a Western release because Level 5 doesn't release anything simultaneously. So Megaton Musashi, the anime, is coming out, I believe it's October 20th or something along those lines, but November 11th in Japan, the PS4 and Switch game comes out. I think it looks really cool. If anybody ever saw their LBX game, Little Battlers Experience, it was very much a Metabot style game, except for with even smaller robots. They're like actually like the size of a coffee cup, and they were customizable, and you fought in like arenas and stuff. Actually, a lot like Custom Robo. Did anybody ever play Custom Robo?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Sharif's got me.
I got you.
So the actual like combat system for the game is very much along those lines. It's really neat looking, and yeah, I'm excited for that one. I hope we get a Western release. So, but with that,
Yeah.
it's time for the top of the show. Yeah.
No, wait, we left out one thing that we said we were
No!
going to talk about at the top of the show.
You should have interrupted me before I did a mecha thing. I have a lead-in. I set
your
myself
lead-ins mean
up.
nothing to me. Transitions mean nothing.
Somebody fire Aaron.
Just switch it around in post.
Switch it in post.
We gotta talk about Pokemon Unite. The
Oh
sad
god
news.
damn it.
For anybody who doesn't know, Scott, could you please quickly describe what Pokemon Unite is?
Is MOBA Ket Ball.
Okay, can you maybe give it a broader definition?
Alright, Pokemon Unite is a free-to-play MOBA that is more like a MOBA infused with basketball. MOBAs being a pretty major genre of video games, you can Google that.
Yeah.
But you play as Pokemon characters in these little stadiums. It's a very, very fun game. One of the like most fun, silly, like offshoot Pokemon games I've ever played. But it is egregiously pay to win, and it has all of the crazy monetization systems in it.
It's literally took all the ones we've been like talking about over the course of recent video game history and went, let's just put them all in there.
Yeah, so like I wish I had it pulled up. There's a very good article written by somebody who like actually makes the like monetization systems for games, and they came out being like, this is gross and egregious.
Yeah.
Most games have 1 to 2 forms of monetization, right? It's normally like if you look at Fortnite, right, there are 2. You can buy cosmetics or you can buy your battle pass. That's it.
Right.
Which
And that
is pretty
doesn't
fair.
actually affect the play. That doesn't give you any significant tactical advantage or anything like that.
Aaron, when I play as the Mandalorian, I shoot gooder.
You shoot better when I'm the Mandalorian.
Say it's gooder.
This is my-
More gooder.
We'll
This is
put
the
this to
way.
the test for sure.
I got there's this dope headshot clip of me somewhere on the internet. If I, saved
I
it
did
right.
watch that. It was a good headshot.
Anyway.
Good job.
But there are 5 forms of monetization, I believe it is, in this game. You can buy a battle pass, you can buy the currency for the in-game. You can buy... So basically, like, with the currency, you can buy cosmetics. You can buy items that are required to power up your character. You can buy the item to power up those items by buying real-life, like, money with real-life currency. You can buy new Pokemon, which are just, like, getting you new characters. So, like, right there, like, that's 4 different forms of monetization.
And
it's a lot.
And much like Fortnite, like, you can get those in-game currencies by grinding, but the amount of time you would need to grind to get a significant enough amount to even match, like, the beginning level of players who are just, you know, paying for it would be ridiculous. You'd have to be there all day, every day, which is kind of how the game is designed. It's really designed to keep you sucked in and playing. And I think what makes it more egregious is it's Pokemon. So it's like, this is not like, there's no barrier to entry for, like, children, because they can operate on the Switch, which already has a credit card attached to the game that you're playing with, unlike some others where you can kind of bar that easier. It's Pokemon, like, kids play it. It's gambling for children, because there's also loot boxes and a ton, like, it's not just one in-game currency, there are like 5 in-game currencies.
Yeah,
it's wild.
And like, it's one major currency that they use to trickle down to the other things, which is shifty.
It's like the gems, right?
But the game is super fun. So, like, if you want to play, just go in and, like, know, like, hey, it's super pay to win, and you will not get anything. You will not earn anything after the 14-day trial, or the 14 days, like, starting thing.
Yeah. And you know you're gonna end up spending money on it because you want to get your Om-Nom some nice fucking swag.
Yo,
like,
I earned
money on Om-Nom swag.
I spent $4 to buy the battle pass only.
Here it comes.
And I have earned. I am up to like 10 Pokemon. I am an expert rank player, and I have the full Snorlax outfit. That's all I will ever need. I spent only $4 on this game. Everybody out there spending hundreds of dollars upgrading your items. Nah.
You're just gonna end up seeing, though, you're gonna see like a Snorlax in like the cutest jacket, and you're like, wait, I don't have that jacket. What the shit?
No, my Snorlax wears sunglasses and a swimmy ring because he don't float so good.
Yeah, of course. If you're not familiar with like monetization in video games, there's a lot more to it that we can't like go into here, but like there's a lot of psychological stuff like fear of missing out that plays into like wanting to get cosmetic items. Like if you tell somebody, it's like, well, you can buy cosmetic items and they don't necessarily do anything for your character, people will usually think, okay, that's fine because that's just about customizing your character the way you want. But what they'll do also is they have like timed things where it's like, oh, you can only get this cosmetic for like a certain period of time. If you don't get it, you don't have it. Sorry. And like people click, like they'll get it.
It's trying to say is that it's too big a topic for us to tackle here. But you know what's not too big a topic? Mechs.
I think that's way bigger.
It is way bigger.
We are talking about mecha anime today. Does anybody have a
I'm blaming you for this
definition of mecha?
Like you blame me.
Definition of mecha. Go ahead, Taylor. Give us your definition of mecha anime. You gonna say big robots? It's mic didn't work.
Big ass robots.
So for
big ass robot things.
For the layman out there, that is a very simple
Is that not what they are? They're giant robots.
So like at the start of mecha anime is a bit more broad, but like when we talk about it, we're usually referring to large human-powered robots or suits of armor or like even biologically and mechanized systems. But it is a large genre that covers a ton of sci-fi anime. It's very much about the marriage between people and robotics in a very general sense. Like Ghost in the Shell can be technically considered a mecha anime. And I would say that mecha,
No,
unlike most genres
That's not
of anime,
true. That's a
it's
lie.
true. No, it's true. Like when the term mecha was coined, it just meant mechanical anime. It wasn't specifically robot anime.
No.
And mecha,
The game has changed.
Is this one of those things
The definition
where
evolved.
it had an original meaning and then it got over here and as Americans were Americans and said, this means giant robots now?
actually, mecha comes from an English word in Japanese. They used it instead of what they were using to define that genre.
Like
there.
anime is animation in French.
Mechanical. That's it. Just means mechanical, so it's mechanical anime. And what it's kind of distilled to is mainly giant robots fighting giant monsters or other giant robots. But I don't know. I would say mecha is a very it's unlike other genres. I think it's very uniquely a Japanese genre. Even the very first anime was like at the time considered a mecha anime. It's Astro Boy. It's a mechanical boy. He's literally a robot boy.
Isn't Gigantor older than him?
Yeah. What? Gigantor?
Are we asking what's the first anime ever made? Is that the
Basically,
question right
yeah.
now?
I'm pretty.
Mainstream anime was
Hey,
Astro
Google.
Boy.
What was the first anime ever made?
No, here we go.
Exchange.com.
What?
The first anime that aired in Japan was Astro Boy. Do you want a little more context?
Astro Boy.
There it is.
Yeah,
Okay,
Astro Boy was the very first
No, thank you.
published anime. And it's in their DNA. Like it's in anime's DNA. And a lot of mecha kind of developed out of the technological boom that happened immediately following World War II, where they were basically reconstructing, and technology became a major factor in their progression back to a status quo of sorts. So I don't know, like it's a very Japanese genre. Like it is kind of tied to anime in a very unique way that other genres I wouldn't say are. So I don't know what. So I guess the first thing I'll pose to you guys is, what was your very first mecha anime, or a mecha anime that kind of got you into the genre as a whole?
I have a question.
Oh, please.
Everybody else answer this before you get to me.
Would you consider Speed Racer a mecha anime?
No, that one doesn't quite cross the threshold for what they considered mecha at the time. Mainly because it's not a robot. It's not a robot in.
But you just said it was like mechanics.
Yeah, but a lot of it boils down to robots, like technological robots and or cyborgs in that kind of type of. It's broad, but it is like they do try and make little definitions as they go.
Yeah,
so it's not just like, do you have a robot type thing?
Yeah, because
I mean, the Mach 5 did everything but talk. So,
Yeah,
but it's a car. Like it is like just a normal. Like I think it also, I guess, maybe has to have a little more. It's when like the main character or main MacGuffin is a like. I always go with giant robot like that.
Yeah,
if it is
usually,
a robot.
Usually, it's set in a futuristic setting, where technology has kind of advanced past a point
The
of
best
like
mecha
normal.
ever made is not set in a futuristic setting, but we'll get to that one.
Ooh, I'm actually curious. What would that be? No, I kind of want to know. Like, which one are you referring to?
Well, it's the best one. It's the best thing Americans ever made. But it
Jesus
might have been
Christ.
made by Canadians. Megas XLR.
All right, moving on. Also,
Giant robot.
I guess before
No,
we
they don't.
move on,
they put that in the show.
before we move on, I will say that like mecha has become a very adopted genre amongst like Western audiences. Obviously, we have film franchises like Pacific Rim, which are pretty much entirely influenced by the mecha anime genre. And it seems like we'll be getting a lot more stuff like that in the future. People piloting giant robots is a fun genre that I think translates well over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pacific Rim.
Who's gonna be the first one to answer the question?
Oh, Taylor, why don't we start with you? What was your first experience with mecha anime?
My first experience with mecha anime, based on the definition that I was given, would be Escaflowne.
Escaflowne. I haven't heard of that one.
That is an
It's
unexpected
old as hell.
Yeah, Escaflowne is not what I expected, because that one's like dark and bloody.
It is literally the first anime I ever watched at the age of 6.
That's wild. That's
Wow.
that's like how at like the age of like 6 I watched Akira, because I just saw that it was an anime movie coming on pay-per-view.
Akira was different.
Yeah, I blame Akira for a lot of the reasons that I'm a weird fucking dude.
Yeah, Akira is a very strange anime.
Okay, Lubu Gundam here. I need you, or
I
But yeah,
will reiterate.
Escaflowne was the first thing I ever It's the first anime I ever watched. Was also the first mecha anime that I ever watched.
that's pretty
So.
wild.
Nice.
Yeah.
Scott, what about you? What was your first mecha
Okay.
experience?
Since I'm gonna assume the Power Rangers don't count.
Actually, I don't know. I
I
think they count.
mean,
The giant
kinda.
robot
No, they
that makes
count.
that.
they have giant robots
That's true.
that form a bigger giant robot.
There it is.
That then form a bigger giant robot.
So the first like mecha anime specifically that I watched is Gundam Wing. Yeah, the Gundam Wing series. I was
Let's
obsessed
go.
with it as a kid. I thought it was like super cool. I thought Gundam Wing was like the strongest thing ever. Hell, it might be one of the strongest Gundams, because that double beam rifle and Endless Waltz is fucking disgusting. Like barrier busting, ending cities levels of disgusting. But
Yeah.
yeah, so like I it's why I like Gundam, even though like I generally struggle with a lot of the animes nowadays. It has cemented my love of like that design, that aesthetic. You know,
He had wings.
Pretty boys in short shorts. Hiroyui's pants were way too small.
It had everything.
That's why he was always
Too
unhappy.
small.
They
And he
really
had no
were.
bulge.
No, that's why he was so unhappy.
Wow.
Like,
He's the god.
Why are we talking about little boys' bulges right now on this channel? The police are coming any minute. The FBI is at
so
my door.
you made it about little boys.
Just see somebody repel into Taylor.
To be fair, Hiroyui was like 10 years older than me when I watched that show.
Yeah, he was what, like 17, 18?
Yeah, it's something like that. They're all like mid to late teens. And I think
Oh,
they're
man.
like they're like late teens, early 20s in Endless Waltz. No, because Endless Waltz is actually only like a year after.
Yeah.
It's like not a big time jump, but that's another story. Aaron, you take it, and then we can give it to Sharif, so we can all just stare as the Mecha Man takes it away.
Well, you actually kind of gave me my answer, because I almost forgot about it. But Power Rangers, I think, would be my first, even though like I was surrounded by Gundam. I don't think I ever engaged with the actual story stuff. I just saw them as I thought they were cool toys. They were models. They were everywhere. You go into like any toy shop, and it was just stacked from floor to ceiling with just Gundams. And I thought Gundams were the coolest thing in the world, and then I tried to build one once, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and I got really mad, and I never engaged with Gundam ever again.
Yeah.
So I think I would say Power Rangers, and I mean that kind of epitomizes the genre for me, is just the giant robot fighting big monsters, and it's kind of how a lot of that anime would work, right? Like it's a giant robot, you get a monster of the week, and they fight the giant monster in their giant robot, or their giant robots.
I want to build a new Gundam now in the worst way, but my tools are bad. I need new tools.
All right, so we got Sharif over here who's looking real hype to talk mecha.
I'm real.
So
hyped.
let's give it to
Well,
Sharif.
Real quick, TM,
on.
don't worry. We will get to Zoids. That's coming.
I
get
was
there.
gonna say no one brought up Zoids, and I was about to talk about it. I was.
It
literally
wasn't
about to say
my
something
first
about
one.
Zoids.
I thought that was the question.
It
We're
wasn't
on
my
the
first,
first
but
question.
Yeah, we're only on the first question. Hold on, but before we start, I need to grab something.
Okay, Sharif's going to get props.
No,
He's got a full-fledged Gundam suit that he's hopping into
So,
right
like,
now as we speak.
It's
You
funny.
know how lit that would be?
Yeah, very lit. There we go.
That looks so terrifying.
Alright.
It's so intimidating.
What
This
kind
is
of
this
like?
is,
Like
it is the
super-
Gundam Wing Zero from the Endless Waltz. This is the master grade. I bought this like a month ago. I haven't started it, but I will because it's gonna go in my case
Nope.
over here with all my other Gunpla. So
Do I have
I
that
just-
exact same thing?
huh?
I might.
So-
I don't know.
I'm gonna start
alright,
making
actually.
Sharif tweet out a picture of a Gundam every week. He's gonna do Mecca Mondays.
If you want to see, hold on. I'll be right back. Hold on.
This is the secret reason we're doing this topic, is we just want to see how many things Sharif can put on his desk in front of his face.
My dog is tip tapping everywhere. Go lay down. Go lay down, girl. You're fine.
Probably
So
just
the
chilling.
the other day, hold on. Okay, so the other day I was actually really bored because there's currently like a Gunpla shortage. So I've been building SD Gundams, and I found this little guy in the store the other day, a little SD Gundam.
That is adorable.
He's a cop. Look, he's even got a badge on his head.
That's so cute. Are you kidding me?
Yes. So I
Only
have a-
Japan can make a robot cute.
Yeah.
So I don't normally build SD Gundams, but yes, if you haven't figured out, I love mecha anime. Like I said, with Aaron, I was probably first exposed to it through Power Rangers. As a kid, I had like the Megazords from like the original series, and I think that's kind of where I fell in love with the general aesthetic. Then that whole like like combining and putting like the whole combining and like the whole Zord, and I think like the most appealing thing to Mecha to me was that like they had like almost like a humanoid type of look. I think that's another big thing with Mecha. Like a lot of them kind of, and like I said, this is more of like an acquired taste because some people don't like their mechas to look humanoid. Some of them, some people like them to look more like a beast or whatever. But I think for me, it was always like that humanoid-esque look. I think that's why I like Gundam a lot, is because they have a human-like appearance. But that I was first exposed to it through there, and then through Toonami. Yes, there was like the Gundam Wing. There was also Zoids, which Zoids is a very slept-on, underrated mecha show as well. But I think the coolest thing, I think the biggest thing I just fell in love with is the designs. So it's definitely like, or like even like some of the model kits. Like I just recently pre-ordered the Nirvash from Eureka 7.
Yo.
So like even designs like the Nirvash and like from the Evangelion suits from Neon Genesis Evangelion, which I feel like is the most titular of like.
I was gonna say my next question was gonna be, what do you think was the most pivotal mecha anime? And I would also agree that it's probably Evangelion, even though Gundam has such a large
It's
influence. But like Evangelion, I think what's special about Evangelion is that Evangelion took things like Gundam and the mechas that were around at the time, and it kind of flipped the script on it. So like Gundams are like these big, beefy, like masculine robots, and then Evangelion, they're like these slender, almost ballet figurinas. They're terrifying. They're still creepy as shit, but they're way more, I guess, feminine, for lack of a better word. They're skinnier. They're more gangly. They're very off-putting. But they were
definitely
fascinating.
Yeah, they definitely feel more alien in design.
Yeah.
I agree
But,
with all the points. But
Yeah,
it's Gundam.
But I mean, if you were to ask me now what I like the most, I like Gundam. But I like Gundam for more than just out of the mecha designs now as I've gotten older. But to really boil it down, I think it was just super. It's all the cool different things you can do with the genre. Like you got G Gundam, where it's like all like a martial arts tournament, and like you just throw fisticuffs. But then you have like the super, and then like I'm a huge fan of anything space related. So like Double O is like all the suits are kind of like space themed. So they're all more like they like the curvature and stuff is like they're a little more rounder in certain areas. Like it's there's so many different things you can do with the genre.
You
but
got
I think-
Darlin and the Franks, where they
Darlin-
like children have to get in compromising positions in order to
Nah,
make the
that's-
machines work.
we already been there. I'm not
To
talking
be
about
fair, to be fair, the first half of Darling in the Franks wasn't too bad. It was
And
actually
it's consensual riding of one another.
I actually like the back half of the show better.
that back half was ass.
It was wild. I kind of liked it, but
Bro,
the
she
messaging
turned
was
into a
always
statue.
yeah.
And then,
That's what happened.
and then she turned into a waifu. What?
Yeah.
Messaging
turned
of the
into a
show was
waifu
always
station.
very strange to me. I never really quite understood what the show wanted you to think, but yeah, no, the first part of the show was what made me go, ew, what the fuck am I watching? They like literally moan and the machine powers on.
That was the interesting part.
That's how I turn on my robot, if you know what I'm saying.
FBI, where you at?
No, like the first half was the interesting part because it was the whole like story of like Hero and Zero 2. Like their whole little story like weaving together and coming to an end. The rest of it was just a bunch of teenage hormones and aliens.
I mean, if we're trying to define mecha, I think that would have been a better definition. Teenage hormones and mecha suits.
Teenage hormone and aliens.
See, I disagree. I don't think that is the thing, and I think that's a really like something I wanted to bring up is that while I think most people look at the Mecha series and they think what I want out of the Mecha series, which is just giant robots punching each other.
Yeah.
But they would be surprised to find that generally mecha anime has more often than not a deeper meaning. Most
yeah, of course.
Gundams, like most Gundam series, are about war and the horrors of it and the trials of war, and that's going from like Gundam original to like the most recent series like Iron Blooded Orphans, which is literally about a bunch of war orphans. Who are now mercenaries, and then of course Evangelion is all about like whatever you want it to be, really, based on from what I understand, the ending film you pick.
It has a lot of interesting depth
Yeah,
to it.
there's a
Also,
lot
there's
of-
maybe
Another
there's a new
movie.
film. There's a new film
Yep.
by Netflix, or it's being hosted by Netflix. I'm actually really curious to see it. I didn't know that they were gonna add anything more to the story. It's just I don't know. There's a lot you can take from Evangelion, but it's mostly about people.
Yeah.
It's the angry dogs
I
on
might need to
bears.
get the door. Give me a second.
But I will say, I mean, I was being a bit facetious, like, but yeah, there's way more to mecha anime than more than meets the eye. There's more to mecha anime than what's on the surface, which is the technological kind of fetishization. Because like it is weird, because like I think you both would agree that like mecha anime has this kind of love for mech stuff or tech stuff, but at the same time seeks to criticize its use and generally the world around it. It's always about like using tech to make a statement on humanity is how I would go about saying.
Have we gotten to the part where we say that plugging in your giant robot is stupid?
Not yet.
No, we
Not
got
yet.
to the part where Aaron made a Transformers joke.
I was saying that
Sam,
mecha
I missed
anime is more than meets the eye. Which another Western property that it was basically just stolen from Japan. That one was really just, okay, we need to repurpose these toys.
Yeah, like that's where they came from. It's really interesting because it has led to, like with Macross and Robotech, there's tons of issues because they're the same toy line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they were
I
like
love it.
differently like dubbed and made and stuff. It's very funny.
It's kind of funny how many mechas are basically just like toy selling properties. They were like the shows still make great statements and interesting themes and stuff, but like behind the scenes, most of the time, it's like we gotta sell these toys. We need new toys. Can you make a new mech? It's like yeah, I guess we could do that.
Well, I mean, yeah, like that's where like this fellow comes from. This is my Lubu Gundam, which is from a web series of Gundams all about the romance of the Three Kingdoms.
My God.
Yes.
I mean, the only two Gundams that I have built are this and Build Burning, which is from an anime that is literally to like help bring a younger audience into Gunpla, which is wild.
I kind of wanted
Yes.
to when I was reading for this, I pulled out that book I was talking to you about because I actually kept running into it while doing research. But the book's a bit outdated, so like some of this stuff might not be applicable. But when it's talking about Mecca, it brings up three animes that are pretty famous. Scott, you're actually deeply familiar with one of them and introduced me to one of them. They talk about Bubblegum Crisis. I don't know if any of you have ever had any experience with Bubblegum
Never seen that
Crisis. It's Bubblegum
Yeah.
Crisis, and then they made a film called Bubblegum Crash, which, from the way it's describing it, actually sounds pretty interesting. I do want to give it a chance.
I think it's a little more
Evangelion.
Ghost in the Shell, if I recall.
Yeah, probably. Then there's Evangelion, which we've kind of discussed a little already, and then the last one is Guyver.
Guyver. Not a mecha anime. Wrong.
It actually is. It's a
Not
mechanical
a mecha. Nope.
suit that he pilots.
No, it's a bioorganic suit. It's not a mecha.
Yes, that counts.
No, it's a bio. It's completely bioorganic. There's nothing mechanical in that suit. The only mechanical part of the suit is the control metal.
You can get titular just say that's the same with Evangelion. They're creatures.
Yeah, but they're giant robots that have to be plugged in.
They have to be plugged
control
in.
those fucking things.
Because they're piloted like mechs. Like I think there's enough. I think it's Evangelion is a spin on the mech thing. Guyver is a spin on Sentai. It is a dark take of a Sentai show, I would say.
I will say that this person's definition of mecha is a bit more
It's
broad
very
in the
broad.
sci-fi genre. But it always has to do with tech and kind of the underlying principles. But yeah,
Go watch Guyver, everyone.
but I don't know. So like, I would say that Evangelion's probably one of the most pivotal mechas. But obviously, you guys would also say Gundam is a big one.
Yeah, I would say
That might define the genre for like larger audiences.
I think Gundam is the biggest one. I like undoubtedly because Gundam is like the one that most people would know of. Even if you're not an anime fan, there's a good chance that you might be like, "That's one of them Gundam robots." Cause like it's lots of different animes. Gunplas are becoming increasingly common. You can buy them in freaking Barnes and Noble and sometimes like Target. It's the biggest brand. It's got the most series. It has just the most coverage, right? It's everywhere.
The big net, yeah.
Yeah, for as much as I dislike Evangelion is like the high art piece of mecha, I think, and it's the one that
Yeah.
Ironically, it's like it's a spin on mecha, but it ends up becoming a defining, like, a genre-defining piece.
Yeah.
It became mecha in its pursuit to kind of change the genre. Because so much, like, it's not just the designs of the mecha in Evangelion, but the story aspect is very different. In terms of how it handles its characters and obviously how it handles its ending. It refuses to kind of fall in some of the cliches of the other animes of its genre. And ultimately, it's way more about the people than the anime, than the mechs ever get coverage on. Like, the mechs are such a small piece of that anime. Like, and honestly, we don't even see them fight for a lot of that thing. It's usually them just undergoing psychological trauma every time they're in one of those suits. Because, like, unlike a lot of the others, it's not you piloting something. It is you being intertwined with it, feeling its pain, and so many things that it's just like, why? That sounds like a bad idea. Yeah. The concepts that are being played with there are a bit different. It's a bit more of a cynical take on technology than something like Gundam is. Even though Gundam is about war and has a cynical humanist perspective, ultimately the Gundams are machines. Like they're tools. They're being piloted as tools of war, right? They're not like you're not linking with the machine in a real sense. And I feel like that has a lot to do with Japan's kind of concept of machines in general. Like
That might. I feel like Sharif had something to say on this one.
that might, yeah. I mean, there might be Gundams now that is the case. I don't know.
No. You're fine. I mean, you're fine. And there's like, and no, you bring up some really good points. And like, the biggest thing with Evangelion is that Evangelion is a big subversion of what a lot you would find in like a regular Gundam, like in like a Gundam anime or just any other mecha. But I think my biggest draw to Mecca isn't just like as much as like I do tout like as far the kits and stuff, but like the reason why I don't like I only like I don't build like every kit. I just build the ones that I like is just because like they're for me it's that it's not they're tools of war, but it's like when you see it or like when you watch the anime, it's like what does that like stand for me? Like Hero Yui, like we all like for those who watch Gundam Wing, we all kind of know Hero Yui's like struggle. So like it's it's always kind of like that representation of like it's kind of crazy because like the Gundams don't they kind of evolve past being just a tool. It becomes like a reflection of that character.
Right.
The biggest one for me would probably, and the only reason I bring up Iron Blooded Orphans, not because it's like one of the latest in like the long line of Gundam like mainline series, but it does actually perfectly encapsulate kind of what Gundam is and then what it isn't, and it does it both beautifully in its first and second season. Whereas the first season is it's the very standard Gundam approach where it's about these orphan kids, but it's about shipping Kudelia, which she's like this Mars representative, to Earth, so that way she can fight for Mars's independence. So like in the first season, it's very much kind of like this underdog kind of story. It's it's pretty much like an underdog kind of story where these literal children, orphans, are literally fighting for their own independence, and they're trying to get their one best shot of fighting for that independence to Earth. She's like she's like a daughter of like a very high like diplomatic kind of hierarchy type of thing. But it's really cool because the Gundam suit, like the mobile suits that they actually use in Gundam, which is funny because when IBO first came out, a lot of the IBO suits got a lot of flack because they were so alienated from everything else that came before, like the Wing Zero. I'm gonna push Wing Zero over here to the edge. He's taking all my screen. Maybe I can do it okay, whatever. But I think the biggest one is if you look at the character Mikazuki, which he's kind of the Daruto, I can't pronounce it, the Daruto antagonist, like the second most important character. Mm-hmm. He really isn't like the main character, because if you ask me who the main character is, I think it's Orga, which is his best friend. But everything you kind of see is through Mika's eyes, and the only reason I bring that up is that Mika is he is he is just a fighter. He is just a trained killer. Whatever Orga orders him to do, he just does, and it's representative with his link with Barbatos, because he's actually intrinsically connected to Barbatos through the Ala Vijnana system, which is like this thing that's installed on their back. But he's actually literally connected to the Barbatos, and I really love the lore of it. Because in the second season, not like they get to where they want to, because their whole thing is about finding their place. And it's crazy how they become the good guys, and then in season 2 they actually become the bad guys, because they try and fast track their road to success. They pick fights that they shouldn't have needed to pick. instead of just taking the tried and true method. They get punished for it. So it's cool how it's reflected in Barbatos, because the more Mika is sacrificing to try and get to their goal, Barbatos is literally taking away parts of Mika's body. So every time Mika really gets in a really dangerous fight, like if Barbatos loses an arm, Mika actually loses like a loss of like his arm or something when he's not piloting Barbatos, but when he's piloting it, he has full control over himself. So it's almost kind of, and it's crazy too, because all of the Gundams in IBO are actually named after devils. So he's literally making a deal with the devil. I could talk about this at nauseum, but it's really cool how Mika, like, and even Mika gets the nickname on the battlefield is just known as the devil, because he fights so ruthlessly and he doesn't care. So it's cool how they become reflections of each other and how they kind of mirror each other in Mecca. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things I've kind of taken away is kind of like how those suits reflect their personalities and reflect their ideals. So
Yeah.
it's always about a clash of ideals, and I feel like you can always find that in most mechas, even in things like Zoids and stuff like that. Like, hero suits are normally like blue and white, and they have very pure colors, and like the enemies always have darker colored suits and stuff like that. So there's a lot of symbolism that goes on, but like it's cool. It's cool, and I think that's one of the biggest things I like about Mecha going forward. It's always, it's not just the cool designs. It's just like how they parallel with their machines, how it becomes like an extension of like what they believe in. So that's my 2 cents. That's my
Yeah.
spiel. That's my TED talk. Bye,
That's
guys.
it's a good point. Like, I think that you'll find that across a lot of fiction when you have piloted inanimate objects, and like this is the case in the real world too. Like, it's the reason that pirates and sailors call their ships, like, they gender their ships and have like a name for it, and it's kind of they give it a type of, they endow it with a certain personality that's kind of reflected back in the way they deal with it. And you'll find that across fiction too. Like, obviously an easy example would be like the Millennium Falcon in Star Wars. It's this broken down ship that's more than what it seems, and it always comes through, much like Han Solo, who's this very criminal figure who comes through for them. So it's kind of a case of like both. It's both an intentional design, but also an accidental, just kind of reflection that happens when we're dealing with tools, when we're dealing with large piloted tools. Scott, you were gonna say something too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that that is what Sharif's been talking about, has been a thing with Gundam since the beginning. Like, if you look at the original Gundam, the titular one, it is the most plain suit in the entire series, I think. It's the stock one. It's smaller than all the other mechs they fight throughout the entire series. Like, everything is bigger. Like, Goofs, Zaku's, Sazabi, Queble, like, they're all way bigger than Gundam. He is small, he is simple, and it's only as Amuro, going from this literally just a kid who happens to be just smart enough to read his dad's manual and pilot the Gundam, to becoming a full like warrior and war hero, that you start to see him get new things. Like, he gets the bazooka, he gets his shield, he learns how to use the sword, he literally gets more weapons and more utility as he goes, and then by the time you get to the sequel series and he's in more advanced suits, he's in like the Gundam Mark II and things like that, you get to see the full evolution. Each of that line of Gundams, each hero has more and more to him, and as they need more to equip themselves, they add more stuff to better combat whatever situation they are. And it's always a direct correlation to like their growth or need to struggle. And I guess Barbados is interesting because it's more like he strips himself down and just takes the bare minimum at all times. He is raw.
He is raw. That, and like it's just raw, because they literally just bash with like huge maces and spears. Like, it's very barbaric in its approach, and that's what they were kind of going for.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
So Zoids are fun.
Love that transition.
Yeah, I guess like I don't know. The Zoids is just a thing. I think it gets forgotten. I don't. Zoids is still around in Japan. They do still get series. I mean, they had the Zoids Blast thing, which is nah. But yeah,
They have Zoids on the. They have a new Zoids game on the Switch.
yeah, it's from that series. It's Zoids Blast or whatever.
See, I look at Zoids and I'm just like, wait, this isn't Power Rangers? Because it just looks like Power Rangers. Is that happen to you guys too though? Like, I feel like Mech is kind of. It's like when people don't know what Pokemon specifically are, and they'll see like a Digimon and be like, "What Pokemon is that?" Where it all just kind of like feels very similar to one another.
So, I think the interesting thing with Zoids is that I believe Zoids was always meant for a slightly younger audience
That's the vibe I'm getting.
than Gundam. Like, especially the new one. Like, the new one is very obviously like a Saturday morning kids cartoon. The weird one is, I think the first anime, which is not the one we got first, because we got Zoids New Century first, but the original one is a little more like a war anime, where it's a world like after a war, and there's like a lot of political stuff. It has like some kids like adventure-ness to it, where it like the main character has like a smaller Zoid, and he's going on like adventure. But Zoids and G Gundam, yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, was that the one with the blue liger or the white liger? I can't remember. It's been so long.
I don't think the first
one was the one with the blue one, I think.
Yeah, the blue liger. I remember that one.
Yeah,
The white one was my favorite though.
Because New Century is the one with the white liger, and that's so like this gets into the kind of like mecha stuff that I tend to be into, because I am a much more like action oriented person when it comes to this stuff. Like, I just want to watch my action figures get smashed together. But like Zoids New Century is all about that. The entire series is a tournament arc. It's literally a game that they like, a tournament that they compete in, and it's kind of interesting. But the big thing with Zoids is they're all animals, generally like more prehistoric type things. It's like it's a liger. It's like a lot of dinosaurs, things like that. A big ass turtle.
Cuz would have the one with the big turtle.
Like,
Taylor would have the
wait,
turtle.
what is it, like a snapping turtle? No, just
Like
turtle.
I love turtles, but dog, give me the liger, dog.
Yeah.
That liger, the white liger is lit, dog.
I like the blue liger.
Specifically the blue one.
That's the one that's
I like
like
the blue one.
fast.
Yeah, the blue
Yeah, the
liger.
blue one's fast. The orange one, I think, is the one that has the swords on it, and the green one is like the fuck you with everything around you to blow all this shit up, but
Yeah.
slow.
It's just guns.
That's the downside.
The
I just
ligers
like the
and
blue
all
one.
the-
I think the blue and white looks good.
One of my favorite like mecha like weird quirky designs is the raptors in Zoids, just because the tails are sniper rifles, so they're designed so the
It's so
pilots
cool.
can flip around into the tail, and they post up somewhere and just shoot with this like railgun. It's great. I love it. It's just the most unexpected thing. It's very cool. I don't have a ton to say about Zoids. I just think it's cool. It's like another pillar where it didn't blow up in the States, because it was like a cheesier anime. It was definitely a little more comedy and silly. Gundam generally hits pretty hard, and there's more of them. So like Gundam Wing ended, and then we were getting G Gundam, and then when G Gundam was over, we started getting OG Gundam and everything. So like they always had a new one to give us because they had so much back catalog. But Zoids is really just the two different Zoids cartoons, and I feel like it kind of faded into obscurity pretty rapidly.
Yeah, but like even if you told somebody, like if you showed somebody a picture of a Zoid, they'd be like, "Oh yeah," they kind of like get it. You know, it's very much like in line with their ideas of mecha and these kinds of animes. Probably because they saw Power Rangers at some point. Like, I think that's like how a lot of Western audiences were introduced to the concept of mecha without necessarily being introduced to mecha anime.
I just
Um,
realized. No, you guys keep talking. I'm fixing something.
Fixin'. Um,
I was about to say, is he about to say? I just realized we weren't live.
No, a change. So okay, so here's a quick look behind the curtain. What do you call? Twitch is not always the best system, and it doesn't always like to work. And I made the changes to our category, and they just didn't take place. So it's not a big deal.
Yeah,
No
but like,
biggie.
there's no biggie, no biggie.
well, are there? So I guess kind of moving into the future because, like Mecha's easy to understand through the kind of defining animes that represent it. Evangelion, Gundam, Power Rangers, which is an anime, but to an extent. Like, what are some mechas that you guys are excited about? Like, is there any that are operating right now or in the or that are close to this point in time that have kind of, I don't know, made you excited about the genre again?
I'm not a. So the funny thing is for as much as like I like the way Gundams look, and I do have a few model kits and stuff, I'm actually not that big of a mech guy. I struggle with a lot of mech animes. Because again, it's one of those things where like my expectation set from being a little kid, because it's just my little kid brain remembering it wrong, is I always expect more action and a little more to it. And I don't mind like a good plot, but I do want like cool scenes intermixed with it, right? And more often than not, it's not like, especially with a Gundam, you're not gonna get that, right? It's gonna be very heavy stuff. Like I tried to watch Gundam Hathaway, beautifully animated movie. It's up on Netflix, and I just couldn't get into.
I haven't
it.
gotten to watch it yet.
It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
But like I couldn't get into it because I was like, I don't want this like serious war story right now. I want something a little like, I don't mind it being like a serious war story if I'm getting some cool fights and some really cool like moments, but those are always saved to like the end.
Yeah.
And so I really struggle with Mecca.
Yeah. And I can see that's why you like the build fighters and the build like divers series, which I love those too, because it just lets me turn my brain off, and it's just like, it's a game. We can all just smash each other in the face. Like it's very much just like entry level, just pure bliss. Yeah.
And this isn't new, but like, what about something like Gurren Lagann, which is kind of a blending of genres, but still deals with giant robots, right?
That's my favorite mech series.
Yeah.
Is Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. It's like what started the trigger. I think to some extent, like that is the like weird third wave start of mechs. Like I think it got a lot of. I think that's another one of those gateway animes, right? Like that was back like in 2010. That one dropped, and I think that was like the gateway anime right before Attack on Titan became the next big one. Tengen, Gurren Lagann was this nice little 26 episode piece of like awesome.
Extremely well animated, so it kind of like had a. Oh, go ahead, Taylor.
Was it Gurren Lagann 2007?
It might have been a
is it
little
really that
earlier,
old?
but it got like big when it went on Netflix
Yeah.
When the hell was it on Netflix?
in 2010, because that's when I went to college,
Ah.
and that's
I
when
didn't even
like,
realize it was that old.
Yes.
Oh, no,
yes.
it's up there now.
It's back there. It's back there.
like, and like here's the big thing. Like here's how you can tell when like a mecha has gotten big, right? It's a silly little thing, but the Super Robot Wars games are like a staple in like mecha anime, right? They've been around since the Nintendo. As like tactics mech games. We don't get many of them in the States. But like right after Gurren Lagann came out, Gurren Lagann started being in that game. As like a big deal. So it's really cool seeing like something like Gurren Lagann, which is parodying this like the franchise, but also kind of parodying shonen as a whole at the same time. it
Yeah.
is all about just believing more and punching harder, but it like specifically believing you can punch harder.
Believe in the me that believes in you.
He's a you.
Oh, yes.
Yes. I mean, I was gonna say to that degree as well. Like without Mecca, we wouldn't have like Megas XLR, which is ridiculous as it is. It is literally a parody of just everything about the Mecha genre.
They have
Like,
a
the
Voltron
fact that-
parody episode.
Exactly. There's
I
a
also-
Voltron parody, and there's a. They parody a lot of stuff. They parody the X-Men in one of them.
I think almost every
Would
episode.
you say
is a direct
Voltron is
parody.
like the most popular one?
I was
Because
gonna
there's
say
a Voltron like reference in everything.
I was gonna say Voltron has kind of a large cultural following, despite that most people don't really know what Voltron is.
There was a
Oh.
Rick and Morty episode
was
about
literally about to
Voltron
say-
2 weeks ago.
I was
You
literally
guys
about to say
mean
that,
Go
like,
Lion?
No, they were ferrets.
they're ferrets. If you don't know, the latest season of Rick and Morty features an episode where Rick is obsessive about collecting all of the 5 giant mechanical ferrets so they can build a giant mech to go fight monsters with.
Like,
And then he gets like hyper obsessed with crossing dimensions to get even more mech ferrets and make even bigger mechs to fight even bigger monsters. It's ridiculous, but like it does highlight that there's a cultural relevancy that like kind of clings on into people's minds that will get reproduced over time, with people knowing less about where it originates from, but always remembering that it's a Japanese big robot thing.
Yeah,
Like, I
I
think
mean,
they all know that.
Voltron kicked off the resurgence of the Netflix classic cartoons.
Yeah.
Voltron was the first one they did, and then She-Ra, now He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
So Voltron is a good series. I didn't finish it. It was too long, but it's a really interesting one. It's got some cool designs and animations and stuff.
It's always about the robots that make bigger robots idea, though.
Yes.
And that's why I say, I don't know, like, Mecha really defines Japan because, like, you don't do a Mecha reference without also referencing a bunch of Japanese stuff tied in with it.
There are multiple giant Gundam statues in Japan
Yeah,
And
I've
in
seen the one
Singapore.
Tokyo.
and Singapore.
And also there's still this weird obsessive thing where like wasn't there like remember there was this big news story a long time ago that said Japan and the US were going to compete to make giant robots to fight each other, and that somehow that still has maintained relevancy because there are still articles that are come out about that, about how yes, this is still happening, we're still building giant robots to fight each other, it will happen.
I like how it's funny too because it keeps getting brought up too because the other when they had the RX-78 like the statue in Japan and then they updated it and now it like moves, they're like Japan's winning. they're training pilots as we speak.
It's getting closer.
It's okay as long as we can find a new type before they do. We'll be
Oh
fine.
god. I don't know.
Oh god.
I'll say that like there are some times where I kind of have a like my spirit about mechas becomes a little reinvigorated. Like I'll say that when Pacific Rim came out, I kind of remembered the fact that I actually do love giant robots like punching giant monsters. I think that was a really cool way of bringing that genre to a Western audience, like bringing it like, hey, this is the same thing but like in a different package. Something that like we can all understand, and that again, you cannot untie that from Japan. Like that's why the monsters are still named kaiju, and you know one of the main female leads is a Japanese woman. Like it's just inseparable
And why we're
from their
canceling
identity.
The apocalypse.
Tonight we are canceling the apocalypse. God, I love Idris Elba. That dude is so cool. Like he's just so good in everything.
I love that movie.
Even in like The Wire,
Yeah,
which
he
is
is a
not
good
something I
actor.
remembered. He like, I don't know if you guys saw Suicide Squad, but it was fun. The Suicide Squad. I apologize.
Yeah.
James Gunn's is the
I
Suicide
have
Squad.
not seen it. No.
It's fun. I really enjoy it.
So, do you guys have like did you also have a favorite mecha series? Like specific one? Like mine is Gurren Lagann. I like it. Has a really like good story overall, but it's also it hits harder than you expect in the feels, but it has all of the nonsense fighting that I want. It is the perfect fusion of all the things that I desire in my robot show.
I mean, if I have to, if we're gonna go there, I will probably definitely, as much as I love Gundam, I probably could watch on repeat Megas XLR for days. So as much as it's not Mecha, it is. But I just, you know what it is, man. I think Mega. Well, first off, Megas XLR was way ahead of its time. That's my defining statement for that show.
I agree. I think because like it is so much referential humor, and it came out before anime hit mainstream. So it was like it was a joke about things from like recent childhood for an audience that wasn't fully getting the joke yet because they were still too young, and they were not like it was a niche audience on a niche audience.
Yeah, I feel like if anybody today went back and watched Megas, they'd have been like, "This is gold." But no, man, I think what it is just like, I think it for me, like it's got the comedy, it's got that over the topness, which I think that's what a lot of people just like when they think of Mecha. It's just like, it's just kind of. Oh wow! I'm about to say this. It's just built. It's just built to just be this over the top type of genre to just begin with. So there's always gonna be that level of. I guess the perfect way to put it is kind of like a realist fantasy kind of thing, because it's fantasy because it's definitely like giant robots, but it's kind of grounded in this realism that like, oh well, maybe in another 30-40 years maybe we would be at that type of level of technology, you know what I mean? So it's always kind of grounded in a certain approach, so I feel like it has that kind of weird charm to it, where it's like, oh, this could be real. You know, so I think I've always thought about it like that. But man, Megas is just like, it's got all the plot of like an anime, but like none of the because like the first episode of Megas is super like like, are we trying to be an anime? And it's just like, nah, fam. It's just like, nah.
There are two things that I want to talk about when we talk about Megas XLR. Three, now that I think about it. One, Coop got Megas for $2.
Yeah.
He got a giant robot for $2.
Yep.
Because it's just a pile of trash.
It was in the $2.
Which takes me to point number two. How did a giant robot just get there and then just get buried in trash?
Have you seen people from New Jersey?
Nobody said anything. It's like, oh, it's a giant robot.
That was the perfect counter argument. Have you been to Jersey?
Them Jersey folks, man.
Actually, no, I have not been to Jersey.
Jersey sucks, bro.
Man, hot takes on the channel just being like, Jersey fucking sucks, bro.
It's like where the universe sends its disappointment.
I thought that was Florida where y'all were residing.
Taylor's reaction, he's like, oh god.
Florida.
If you are from Jersey, I'm with you.
Solidarity with the folks of Jersey.
But to my third point on Megas XLR that I recently just thought about the other day, Coop is a fucking genius.
Oh,
Can
yeah.
we not talk about the fact that he took a robot from the future and said, I'm going to trick this thing out with video game logic, and I'm going to rip off the head and put a car on it and make it all work? Coop is a genius.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
who somehow spent his entire life playing video games. So let that be a lesson to all of you. Play more
So-
video games. It'll make you a super genius.
So I wanted to interject that I'm not familiar with Magus XLR, and then I looked it up, and I was like, "This is the fucking thing that y'all are talking about,
Bro,
Is this?
bro,
Aaron's just like, what is this?
you gotta watch it. You
I remember
gotta
seeing
watch
trailers
to get
for it. I remember seeing trailers for it, and I was like, "Well, this is weird."
Oh,
it's so
all
wild.
types of weird. It's wild. It's out there. It's crazy, but
Oh my
it's such
God.
a fun ride though. It's so much fun.
And
It's
like,
so good.
But they also
Forehead.
debunked their entire theme song because the entire theme song is chicks dig giant robots, and they proved in the show that chicks do not dig giant robots.
You just haven't found the right chicks.
You hadn't found the right
You
robot.
haven't found the right chicks.
you know, a show that none of us mentioned that I'm a little surprised about. I always kind of forget it. Is Code Geass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Code Geass was like,
yeah, there's a lot of mecha we didn't bring up. I was waiting for like the question of what are your favorite mechas,
Yeah,
but I guess we didn't get there.
no, we
That's-
haven't.
I thought that's the one that Sharif asked. He just asked it.
Well,
and he
nobody answered.
said, Sharif answered.
We went straight. Oh yeah,
We went into
nobody.
a tangent.
Oh yeah, he
As we
I
do.
love tangent.
All right, let's just do a round, like a little round robin. Favorite mecha animes. We'll start with Taylor since he wanted to, since he was like, I didn't get to answer this question.
Oh
Okay.
god. Oh god, there's so much. Okay, all right. Off top, Big O.
Big O.
Yeah.
Yeah, Big O.
It's just called Big O.
Yeah,
It's
no,
called
it's
Big O.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like straight up Big O. Code Geass, Eureka 7. Shout outs to like probably my third favorite Gundam, which is probably a trash Gundam. But I think it's called like Gundam 8th MS Team, I think it's called.
Oh, I know what you're talking. Yep.
I really, really like that one because one, it's Gundam, giant robots, and also romance. It's kind of like two of my favorite things put together. Let's see.
Escaflowne is
Gurren
the same
Lagann,
thing.
That's one. Yeah, Escaflowne. Maybe that's why I like it so much. I don't know, but does Outlaw Star count?
I mean, yeah, I'd account it. The spaceships have
Star.
arms.
Yeah, I count it.
Spaceships
yeah,
have
All
arms.
right, Outlaw Star.
I'm so upset that I have to look up so many of these.
Well, we're giving you homework.
It's
Aaron
too
is
much homework.
realizing how anime illiterate he is.
No, I've known the entire time.
Oh
Just like,
my god, what's that? What's that one? Damn it! What's that one show?
Give me a description. What can you tell us about it?
It's about it's about this like robot. I think he's like a cyborg. He's like half red, half blue.
That almost sounds like a common writer. Well, I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna mess with you.
It's kind of like I think it's called Cyborg 009.
That's the red one. Yeah, they all wear the red jumpsuits in Cyborg 009.
I think I know what you're talking about. He's half red, half
that's
blue.
something else.
Yeah, Cyborg
Yeah,
009
he's half
is the
red,
squad.
half blue.
I think I know what it is. I think I know. Hold on, let me look it up.
Kiter? Is that called Kiter?
I have no idea.
Is that it?
Mazen Kaiser is the big scary looking one with the like gold V on his head.
Oh yeah, Fooly Cooly.
Footy Cootie!
Fooly
How do we
Cooly.
not bring up Footy Cootie?
I mean,
I fucking love
we
Footy
bring up
Cootie.
A lot of stuff.
I mean, Footy Cootie's
I
a
do-
weird edge case where you're like, do we consider this a mecha? I don't
Fully
know.
Cooley
if we
is its
consider
own
this.
thing. It gets its own
It gets
weird.
to be its own genre.
own
It's
category.
literally the Footy Cootie genre.
There are
I
three
do
of them.
mess with I do mess with Full Metal Panic.
Yo, that's
Full
what I
Metal
forgot.
Panic.
Full Metal Panic, specifically though
Yeah.
Fumofu.
Fumofu.
True.
Oh yeah, I told.
True.
Yeah, Fumofu.
Best mech is that bear suit.
I got the Gundam people on the channel, so I'll ask. I only ever made one Gundam, and I thought it was the coolest when I was a kid, but only because it was red. It
Heavy
was
arms.
it was bulky. It had a gas mask of sort. Like it looked like it had a gas mask.
Oh,
It had
that's
like
a
this
Zaku.
weird. What is it?
Red Zaku. Red Zaku.
Red Zaku. Let me see.
Yeah, the Shar Zaku.
Yeah, I used to think
the
that one
one.
was the coolest,
I-
mainly because it was red.
Yeah, a lot of people like that. Yeah, a lot of people like the Red Zaku.
I name my Charmanders Char after Char the Red Comet.
Hey.
Is Red Zaku like a bad guy in the series?
Yeah, Char is always the bad guy.
Yeah, Shar will infinitely always be the bad guy.
Because I always look at him and I'm like, this is probably a bad guy design.
Aaron's like, I don't think this is the good guy.
For as much as I like Red Zaku, I think Sazabi is so much cooler. Like Sazabi is a wild looking Gundam.
Well, like my
Dude,
aesthetic,
Sazabi is so cool.
my like aesthetic choices have changed a lot. I probably would like other designs a lot more now than this one, because this one to me is just very weird and bulky looking.
Yeah, so the thing is the Zakus are like the basic foot soldier Gundams.
Oh,
They're normally green though. The red one is specifically Char Zaku. He is Char the Red
Cool.
Comet. It's a little more tricked out and customized to what he uses.
it's like how the clones in Star Wars have like the colored stripes to indicate their rank, and then like the really cool ones get the cool suits.
Kinda, yeah. I was gonna say the way that like in real life, like when you're in like special forces, like you can kit your M14 however you want. That's basically what Char did.
Mine's got a laser pointer.
Exactly.
You've just given away our location. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I get like for me, like yeah, Gurren Lagann. It's been a while, but like Code Geass is definitely very enjoyable for me, and then like Full Metal Panic, I've watched like 5 times at least. I used to borrow it from my ex-girlfriend all the time because like there was no other way to watch anime back in the day. I'd just be like, "Hey, Lar, can I borrow Full Metal Panic again? Because I want to rewatch the series."
She's like, again.
I was like, "Yes."
Yes.
What about Real Steel with Hugh Jackman?
I love Real Steel.
Actually, Real Steel is pretty fantastic.
It's a fun movie. Like I like it.
Rock'em Robots.
It's yeah, it's a
Alright.
cute down to earth mecha. I'll say that I do like Evangelion. Like that's like the big one I watched, but it was to me Evangelion. I couldn't enjoy it until like the age I am now because I actually had to sit down and like watch it. And I've always enjoyed the animation. Like the animation is S tier for me. Like I love the animation of Evangelion. The storytelling is subtle and interesting. The characters are mostly unlikable, but like I don't know, that makes it more interesting.
What is your issue with Evangelion? Every time it's been brought up today, it's either this or
You know what Scott's problem with it is? His problem is that the robots are plugged in. That's the
Yeah,
reason
so,
he
okay.
does it. It's just that they're
Alright.
to the wall.
Okay, this is a big thing for me.
that's the entirety of the issue.
No,
No,
so like
I was
I
being facetious.
I definitely think that's silly, but like there's reasoning in the lore in the series for why it exists. Like again, I think it's silly, but there's reason. So like you can make anything cool with reasoning. I don't like the characters.
No, they're all unlikable.
But that's the thing. I don't like shows with unlikable characters. Like I don't find much of anything redeemable in Shinji. Like that's main guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the main dude.
Sharif
Cindy.
explode.
Get in the robot.
Sharif's back.
Get in the robot. Cindy.
And the robot son.
I don't find anything about him like redeemable or likable, right? Like even when I've never finished the series. I got like 8 episodes in, and even like after he resolves like, I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna do this, he keeps backsliding. Like there's no growth in him ever in all of these episodes I watched. And I'm like, why do you still suck? Why do you suck more now, halfway through the series, than you did at the beginning? Like you keep.
He's a child with daddy issues. He has failures.
Okay, so you jumped off pretty early, so you missed like the most awkward scene, and
No, the most horrifying scene.
like,
Let's not talk about that scene.
no, besides the horrifying scene, he missed the most awkward scene of all
I
time.
need to know.
Watch the show and you'll know.
I refuse. I've tried like 4 times because I was genuinely. You can ask Aaron because I think it was around when I visited him in Texas. I was really excited that they were putting the whole series on Netflix because Evangelion is
With
always,
the movies.
Yeah, with the movies, Evangelion's always kind of hard to find, and I was so hyped to watch it because I remember trying to watch it in college. I think I was a little scared of the mechs when I was a kid, like a little kid, because I was scared of everything.
They are creepy
They are
as shit.
scary though. Yeah,
They're
they
freaky
are
as shit.
And it came on like Toonami like at midnight, so it was too late generally for me to be allowed to go sit in the living room and watch it. And then I tried to watch it in college, and I just wasn't feeling it. Especially like I was coming off Gurren Lagann and going into Evangelion, and like that's
that's a hard transition.
That's
Very
right there.
hard.
That's some tonal whiplash.
That's whiplash.
And like I was also watching it at what was like a very like low point in life right then. I had a weird misunderstanding with a roommate who was trying to sue me over something I didn't fully do. It was very dumb. So like that. Yeah, it's a story for another time. But like I watched it like
my Evangelion watching experience was ruined when my roommate tried to sue me.
because like it was just like something I was watching to try and take my mind off it, and I hated it. But I tried to go back.
Take your mind off of life's troubles.
No, but like it was just like the guy who became my new roommate was like, "Hey, have you ever seen this? Like, maybe we'll watch this and we'll hang out." But anyway, I tried to watch it when it came to Netflix, and I got like halfway or so through the series. I don't know how many episodes is it? Is it a 13 or a 26?
26.
I was gonna say I think 26 sounds more right than 13.
26.
I think I got to like episode 8 to 10, somewhere in that neck of the woods, and I just couldn't do it. I was like, I don't like these characters. I don't really understand everybody's weird machinations. I don't understand the motivation of anyone because everybody is just trying to dick over everyone else when the world is going to fucking end if you don't pull your dicks out of your ass and just work together.
Jesus Christ.
And I was like, I don't
Alright,
understand anything in this show, and so like it wasn't fun for me.
I will say that like Evangelion does something a little more bold in terms of, because like one of the big things is like on a lot of mech things, it's usually like teenagers or children who are piloting these things. Sometimes they're adults, like not always. But like it's a lot of times. Sometimes it's fully dependent on the fact that they're children, which is always an interesting mechanic they throw in. But like, Evangelion takes that and goes like, teenagers suck. Like they're all horrible. They only care about themselves, and they all have bad issues that would probably not function well in wartime when they need to pull their shit together the most.
And I get that, but like realistically, right? Like and like historically, like there have been times where teenagers have fought in wars.
Well, Japan is the most experienced with that because they specifically recruited teenagers and children to fight in World War II. Like that's where a lot of, that's where a lot of the tropes of anime stem from, is the fact that children were the ones fighting this war in a way that had not been required of children in the past, and a lot of that was like they would go to special schools. They would be taught their basically through their entire teenage years is like how to fight war and how to be a warrior. That's why shonen animes are usually so reliant on a school of some type where they're getting tossed into adult situations constantly and having to participate in like life or death tournaments. It's basically, and we don't get that in the US. Like there are some versions of children doing adult things, but it's never like to the extent that Japan makes it, where Japan's like, this will be bloody and horrifying. America's like Kim Possible or something, or
And like
or
I get that, and that's why I do like a lot of anime. I think a lot of anime represents things very interesting and in a fun way, where it's like, and I think, but I would say I think something like Iron Blooded Orphans is more interesting to me, where it's still like kids in war fighting, or even like original Gundam, where like Amuro Ray is just a guy, and like he's trying to fight because he wants to save everybody, and he wants to save White Base and the community he has left, and he's trying, but he's not good at it, and he's frustrated, and he's Amuro Ray is very much a teenager in that show. Like, he acts like one.
Yeah,
But he has a set of balls at some point, and Shinji
I'll
never
say-
does, and I don't think it's fun.
So like,
yeah.
Shinzi, the whole thing about Shinzi is like, the last 2 episodes, and I know you've heard this before, is that the last 2 episodes are this weird bonkers, psychological probe of the main character. It's just basically like, here is this weird, outlandish representation of the mind of this character, where his motivations as a person are being questioned by his own internal monologue, and it's weird. It's abstract as fuck, but it is interesting because it gives you an outline for why this character is such a scared little shit.
Shinji is one of the tropes that I brought up that I don't like.
Right,
When we did the trope, he's the overly crying protagonist. Like,
even though he doesn't really cry that much, like, he cries a few times, but he's not always crying. He's just depressed.
Deku, stop crying.
Deku!
And I think that's
Don't
we
even
should
cry that much.
probably begin to wrap this up because we're just over 2 hours, and I know Sharif has to go to work at some point today.
Yeah.
So, does anybody have any final closing thoughts before we wrap up this week's episode on Mecca?
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell.
It's another one.
In the shell.
Ghost
Are
in the
you
shell.
the ghost in the shell?
Are you the Ghost in the Shell?
I'm too thick.
Mecca's fun. Mecca is fun. I think it's definitely a genre that I think can be overlooked a lot because it's just like, okay, cool, yeah, giant robots. But I feel like it's definitely one where I feel like there is something for everybody. Whether, I mean, outside of like just the whole robot genre, especially if you're into things with that have like more dedicated stories, or if you want something that's a little on the fun side. I feel like there is something as far as like mecha related. There's something for everybody, but it's a cool genre all in all. It's definitely my favorite.
Where's my mecha romantic comedy?
That's Full Metal
That's
Panic.
next. You know what? That's next.
That's Full Metal Panic.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm going to watch
Wasn't there
that.
like some scene in some like anime where it was like this guy like asked a girl out and he gave her a little model Gundam?
I don't know, but I need to see that.
Like that, like I think that's a thing. Like he was like, I like you, and then she was like, and then he was like, I have this little Gundam for you, and she was like, oh my god, let's go out.
The next
was
time
hilarious.
I ask a girl out, I will go build her like a little one of the little teddy
Here's a
bear
Gundam.
ones.
Let's go pick up chicks and Gundams.
Damn Skippy, because chicks
love Gundam.
dig giant robots. This has been the Super Otaku Show.
No.
As always, I am joined by Taylor Made Otaku. You can find him over on Twitter and on YouTube at Taylor Made Otaku. The Shooting Star Sheriff himself, Sharif, also over on the YouTubes. And my Roman half, Aaron. We're over at Roman Bear Productions on YouTube. And we're on Twitter at Super Otaku Show. That's it for this week. If you guys like mechs, let us know what your favorite mecha series is and why Evangelion is better, because you guys are all going to yell at me for it on the internet. Until next time, guys, so long.
It's okay to not like